let's talk Los Angeles Chargers here for a little bit. Look, it's been an exciting offseason, obviously, for you Chargers fans, adding head coach Jim Harbaugh into the fold. A lot of momentum building behind the Chargers right now, but Coach Harbaugh has done a phenomenal job filling out his coaching staff, both at the high levels and the lower levels. And there's a sneaky good hire that came out today that I really think could have a big impact going forward. Let's go up into the news and we'll talk more about it on the other side. This is according to Yahoo Sports. Mark Trestman is back in the NFL for the first time in 7 years. The Los Angeles Chargers announced on Wednesday that Trestman will join new head coach Jim Harbaugh's staff as a senior offensive assistant. Trestman was the Bears head coach for the 2013 and 2014 seasons and led the team to a 13-19 record over those 2 years. It looked like he had the Bears offense on the right path, and the team finished with the number 2 scoring offense in the league in 2013, but he lost a locker room in 2014 and was fired after that season. Now, Trestman is a guy who's known for being just a really, really smart X's and O's guy. He knows offense really, really well. It didn't work out as a head coach in the NFL. He did have some success as a head coach up in Canada in the CFL, but whatever you think of Trestman, right, and he had a few ups and downs in the NFL, he knows X's and O's of offensive football at a really, really high level. I think this is a really good hire by Harbaugh and company. Before we get into more details, Chargers fans, in the comment section below, now that we've seen pretty much the entire coaching staff shake out for Jim Harbaugh, how would you grade how Harbaugh has done just filling out the coaching staff? Do you love it? Give it an A+. Do you think it could have been better? Maybe it's just a C-. Or are you just playing wait and see? Maybe you think it's a B. Whatever it is, grade how you think Harbaugh did in terms of filling out his coaching staff in the comment section below. But switching back to Trestman, I think there's a theme that has occurred in major college football that I'm surprised is taking longer to take hold in the NFL. So a lot of times these big programs in college football, like the Alabamas of the world, Michigan, very similar, of course, where Harbaugh came from, is that they will hire former head coaches that were really smart, really capable. So to become a high-ranking head coach in college football or to be an NFL head coach, you've got to be a smart guy. You've got to know football. You've got to be really, really capable. It's not by accident you get to become a head coach. Doesn't mean you'll be successful, but you got to be among the best of the best to get that role. It's just how it is. And a lot of times what happens at the college level is big-time coaches will bring in former head coaches, again, successful, smart people, to serve as sort of senior consultants or senior offensive assistants like we're seeing here. And that's exactly what Harbaugh here is doing with Trestman. I don't think Trestman's going to have a big day-to-day role of the Chargers and how they're going to operate. I don't think he's going to have a big role in terms of what Greg Roman wants to do offensively. I think he's just going to be an extra set of eyeballs, a guy who knows football ins and outs, the X's and O's, the detailed strategies, tendencies, what defenses are going to try and do, and just be a really smart guy to help support the offense. Because traditionally, a lot of times that role falls on sometimes some younger coaches, and that can work out sometimes as well. But I think if you really want to get a franchise heading in the right direction, especially if you want to turn around 180 degrees, you can't rely on some younger, inexperienced coaches, right? Because you're trying to basically turn Justin Herbert's career, I don't want to say around, but really finally get him the place where he needs to go, and that's to the playoffs because he's that good of a player. He should be in deep playoff runs, should be up there with the Mahomes and the Burrows and the Allens of the world, the Jacksons of the world. So relying on a younger assistant coach to be that extra set of eyeballs, I'm not a huge fan of. I really like bringing in a smart X's and O's guy, a veteran guy, a guy who's been an NFL head coach, a guy who knows what it takes to score points in the NFL. Like the report alluded to at the open there, Trestman in his first year with the Bears, he had him as the number 2 offense in football. Right? That was a Chicago Bears. Think about that for a second. We think of the Bears these days as being just really the past 15 years for the most part have been just anemically terrible on offense. But Trestman had the Bears going in the right direction because he knows X's and O's, he knows offensive strategy, and he knows what defenses try to do to counteract that. And I think he's a perfect guy to just be that consultant, that wise experience in the locker room, in the film room, to help Roman, to help some of these position coaches, to help Harbaugh figure out little things they can do to take advantage of defensive weaknesses or little things to avoid that play into defensive strengths. Because it's important to understand, going into game planning, play design, working with the players, I mean, that is a crazy job just to work through the film, come up with a game plan, relay it to the players, get everybody on board, coach them all week in practice, come up with the script of plays you call during the game. A lot of things, nitty-gritty in the weeds, can get missed. And a lot of times these coaching staffs, that's where they rely on these quality control assistants to kind of look in the weeds and see what's being missed. Which on some staffs, it works out great when it's a younger up-and-comer. And sometimes if you have the right up-and-comer, it can work out really well. But the Chargers, I love the fact that Harbaugh isn't relying on some young quality control guy to see if he figures it out. He's like, listen, I'm going to turn this thing around. I'm not going to rely on young upstart coaches. I'm going to get me a proven guy to focus on the nitty gritty, to focus on the weeds, to be a smart extra set of eyeballs for our offense and this football team going forward. And again, this is one of the things we're seeing from smart teams. We see this from Sean McVay, right? We see this from Andy Reid. All these coaches love to surround themselves with smart minds to collaborate and come up with great strategies and great ideas. Harbaugh is no different. I really like the hire of Trestman. And again, it's not a heavy-duty headline role. He's not calling the plays. He's not a position guy. He's just an extra analyst, just another really smart guy to provide his input when it's needed. These kind of moves, they don't look like much, but I think they'll have a big impact for the Chargers going forward, especially as they start implementing a new offense and doing everything they can to get Justin Herbert on track.